Welcome to Wash Talk, the Carwash Podcast. I'm your host, Rich DiPaolo. Joining me today is Mike Gordon, Director of National Accounts, and Kipp Kofsky, President of Arcadian Services. Welcome to Wash Talk, Mike and Kipp.
Hey, thank you, Rich.
Thanks for having us, Rich. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. And transparently, Kipp Kofsky, one of my favorite names in the car wash industry to say. It rolls right off the tongue. So appreciate that, Kipp. And today's episode, we got the Car Wash Show 2024 coming up in Nashville, Tennessee. Everybody's getting excited. The excitement's building for that show. And I know Arcadian Services will have a booth there. So I wanted to catch up with you today to see what y'all promoting and how we could tell attendees, where to find you guys. So can we first go into your background a little bit, into the industry and your company's background and how long you've been exhibiting at the Car Wash Show?
Yeah, so Arcadian's been exhibiting at the Car Wash Show, as far as I know, for probably 25 to 30 years, somewhere around there. And it's really been pretty much every year, and even before I bought the business, they participated. And my wife and I purchased Arcadian in January of 2014. So.
All right. And Mike, a little bit more about your background and how you got started with Arcadian, perhaps?
Yeah, so I actually got started washing rail cars back in the day when I owned another company. I was a national company that delivered fuel for the railroad industry. And one of the services we did was we had to clean the grain cars as they crossed the U.S.-Mexican border. And I had to get real creative because you couldn't put anything on the ground. It had to be real environmental. So I washed grain cars for a long time. And around 2008, somebody decided they wanted to own my company more than I did. And so I sold it off and I got into the car wash business and started buying car washes in 2009. And by the time I was done, I had too many car washes and too much gray hair. And I was trying to learn how to better operate my car washes through better chemistry, better use of resources, utilities, things like that. Labor was a big issue back then because I was running all the flex models. The express model hadn't quite come out yet. And Kipp and I started talking over the phone about some wall cleaning issues that I was having, and I started using some of his wall cleaners, and one thing led to the next, and before I knew it, Kipp had persuaded me to come and join his team and help out. So around 2017, I finally started selling off my car washes, and by 2023, last year, I sold off my last one, and now I'm fully dedicated to growing and developing Arcadian. I've been with Arcadian for 7 years now, I watched this small company that Kipp purchased turn into being one of the most innovative and creative companies I've ever had the privilege to work with. One of the products we're going to talk to you today is called our Reclaim Defender program. I'll let Kipp kick that off, and then I'll support him as he needs help. But most people know Arcadian by our wall cleaners and our innovative technologies like Reclaim Defenders. So, but we also provide a broad array of car wash chemistry that's very competitive, and I think some of the best in the industry. So
it's an interesting path to Arcadian for sure, Mike. And
yeah,
wanted to delve into a little bit about some of that innovation that Arcadian's going to be displaying at the Car Wash Show.
Arcadian's been around for over 40 years and really serving the needs of the car wash industry and really specific specialized chemistry. Prior to purchasing Arcadian, I spent the lion's share of my career with a company called Fuchs Petrolube in the industrial lubricant sector. We made industrial cleaners as well. And I decided, and I ran their businesses throughout North and South America. And I decided that it was time for me to go off on my own in 2013 and look for a business to purchase. And my wife and I purchased Arcadian at that point. And we saw, what I really saw was a great opportunity for the car wash industry. That was really the early stage of the membership programs taking off. And I saw a big opportunity to get in the industry, thought it was a good target to get into. And I also saw a lot of needs for better chemistry And with my background in the chemical business for, at that point, nearly 30 years, I really thought I could bring some new technology to the table and help the industry.
All right, cool. Yeah, let's talk about some of that newer technology that you're bringing into the industry these days. The big car wash show, as I mentioned, is taking place in Nashville, Tennessee, from May 13th through the 15th this year. What can folks who visit the Arcadian booth at booth 1243 expect? Can you tell us a little bit more about this Reclaim Defender that Mike mentioned?
Absolutely. So that's, really the key product we will be introducing at the show. We've had it out now in the field for probably, and many sites, for at least 6 months. We started beta testing it at a select number of sites just about a year ago now. And we're very specific on testing. We want to make sure everything's fully tested in the field before we take it out to market. And so we're ready to really launch it fully out to market. And that's why we're going to be featuring it at the show. And we also are going to be doing a pitch session on Tuesday at 1 o'clock in the Pitch Amphitheater on the Reclaim Defender. And really, reclaim is a big topic in the industry. There's a lot of inherent issues in the industry with reclaim systems in particular that cause people problems. And really, a lot of the problems generate are from the odors that come out of the reclaim system. And that's generated what's called hydrogen sulfide gas, which is a very dangerous gas. And I recommend anybody out there just go Google it or go to the CDC website and see how dangerous it is to employees. And anytime you smell that rotten egg smell in a car wash, that's what's generated from. So the Reclaim Defender does several things. It eliminates that smell. It does not cover it up. It actually eliminates that smell with the biological packages we put together to treat this. The other benefit is one of the huge costs for car wash owners is the sludge removal costs. That there's a layer of sludge that builds up in the reclaim pits, and that's from everything that comes off those cars that they go through the wash. And it's got to be hauled off on a regular basis from the wash sites, depending on how many cars they're washing and how big their pits are. The more cars you wash, the more often it's got to get hauled off. And this can be a huge charge, typically anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 per pit. And this can be typically it's a quarterly expense, but we know washes that get them pumped out monthly. And then the other thing is the Reclaim Defender it actually clarifies the water. So it can allow the reuse of that water in many more places in the wash than currently used. Currently, a lot of people just restrict to maybe undercarriage. And now you can really cut your city water costs, especially when there's high cost water areas. And if there's a water surcharge area where you're drawing your water from, this can be a huge savings to the customer. And Mike can go into really a lot of the other benefits to the Reclaim Defender. And I'll let him kind of go over that now, and then we can go over some of the other products we'll be featuring.
Yeah, thanks, Kipp. That's a pretty good introduction right there. I just like to circle back a little bit on what Kipp was saying about the cost savings and some of the inherent issues with the reclaim systems. As we all know, there's 3 to 5 really well-known equipment manufacturers in our industry that produce a really good result for what they're trying to do. So from 5 microns up to 200 microns worth of solids, they're real effective at taking it out. Unfortunately, the amount of materials that we're putting on the cars is much smaller than the 5 microns. It's organic in many natures, in many cases. It has small particulates in it, little grains of sand and silica, we call it, and silicones. It has a lot of chemicals that are in that wastewater or that reclaimed water. And all of those things have to be thought of how you're going to deal with it before you can actually use it in the car wash industry. We also know that reclaimed water affects the cleanliness of our tunnels. So when we use a lot of reclaim, which we have to in order to keep our operating costs lower, we end up, causing our wraps to go dark or getting dirty. We end up getting our walls go dirty because reclaimed water has a lot of calcium in it. We get a lot of window buildups. We get a lot of fogginess on our glass, all of which means we have to buy additional products, have to treat things a different way. What the Reclaim Defender went in and did is that we we analyzed the problem and said, well, why isn't anybody doing this already? And we found that there aren't a lot of companies that produce an enzyme that goes into the water and kind of treats the symptoms of these things I'm talking about, but doesn't really affect change. An enzyme is produced from the bacteria. They don't produce people don't package bacteria because they don't understand how to deal with it. They don't understand the different forms of bacteria they need to go on that are in nature that do this naturally. A scientist at one of the universities that helped us put this together told me this one time, and I've stuck with this theory about Reclaim Defender. If you go for a walk in the forest and you see a bunch of leaves in a pile, then you go back there the following year, the leaves are gone and all you see is the mush. Well, that's the bacteria that we have in the air and around us in the ground from the bird droppings and everything else that are going on in that environment that are naturally cleaning that big pile of leaves up and making them go away. Well, what we did was that we took that same theory and we applied it to the car wash industry. So what we do is that we install two types of bacteria that are very aggressive at what they're doing. The first one is which I call it Big Green. Big Green goes in and it looks at everything that's living in an oxygen environment. So anything that's living in the water. It goes in and takes out all the bad bacteria, takes out all the pathogens, the E. coli's, and all the things that are really bad for us, and really works hard to clean up that water. With our black product, which is our Reclaim Defender 2F, it goes in and it gets into the non-oxygen environment. So it burrows way down into that black sludge and starts to consume it. When it starts to consume that black sludge, it does one thing. It eats the bacteria that's producing the hydrogen sulfides that are producing the H2S gas that Kipp's talking about. So we completely remove that as even a possibility. We don't sterilize the water like our competitors like to do. Because we need that water to be living water. When you're dealing with septic or black water, you're going to have septic or black water on the car. When you're dealing with living water, which means that we put the oxygen back in it, we remove all the bad things, the chemistry, we increase the BOD, we increase the COD capabilities of the water. There are a lot of technical terms which I won't get into today, but we improve the water and we turn it into a thing that we call living water. And once we get to that living water stage, now we're dealing with water that is going to run through the reclaim systems, right? So we're still going to get the benefit of the reclaim systems, the 5 to the 200 micron filtration. But now we're starting with water that is virtually clear and ready to go into the reclaim system. I don't know if this can be seen, but this is reclaim water right out of a pit, out of a San Diego operation that we're running. And all you can see in here is just a little bit of inorganic and organic material that the filters will then take out. So this water is now starting from there versus water that was starting from a black or septic stage. It has no organics in it. It has no odor in it. And if you put an oxygen meter in there, you'll see that it's fully oxygenated. So it's the right way to go. That opens the doors for other things that we can do with the water down the road. So if you want to use the water in California, for example, where water costs are outrageous, to use the water in other areas above the windshield, you have now better opportunity. Doesn't mean that you don't have to just put it on, because you're still going to have some particulates in the water. But you can put a simple 5 micron filter that grabs the other things out of the water, which makes for a much better, much cleaner car wash and an extremely cost effective, and then generates what we call sustainability. So a car wash no longer has to spend its money on the city water resources one time, give it back to the city. The city does exactly the same thing we're doing, and then puts that water to use back on the grass and soils. We just want you to kind of use this water more than once or twice. To put it on the automobile in such a way that it makes economic sense for you as the car wash owner. And we do it for pennies on the dollar. That's the other great thing. It doesn't require the use of Arcadian chemistry. Anybody's chemistry seems to work. We've tested against all of our competition. We haven't had an issue with it. But our product does one thing that no other product does on the market, which is what Kipp said. It removes the sludge immediately. I mean, it's gone in 16 days from 3 feet down to 2.5 inches. And the repeated use of this product keeps that sludge down to 2 to 4 inches from that point forward. Now, you still have to remove the inorganics, the rocks and the dirt, but now you're talking about taking out, the soils out of your pits, out of your separation tanks, once every 18 months versus once every quarter. And then the other benefits, obviously, is you get rid of the odor. You get rid of it naturally. You're not putting more chemicals into the water to deal with it. And that in itself gives you that best customer service, that we can do for our customers, is give them a pleasant environment for them to wash their cars within. So, and again, I talk too much, so I apologize for that.
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, sounds like some powerful enzymes there you're using, and takes Big Green to save Big Green. There was a lot of
I'd be careful using the word. I'd be careful using the word enzymes, because our industry has really has this phobia about the enzymes, right? There's lots of companies out there that sell an enzyme, but most of the manufacturers of enzymes, they're mostly inactive in their jug when they package it. You actually have to package it properly so that it stays alive. We at car wash owners, we don't understand the biomechanics of what's going on here. So we think it's just going to work. And then we keep buying it over and over again, and we get no results. There's a couple of products in particular I think about that every time we take samples and we test it, the spores are dead. And with our product, which we'll see at the ICA, you'll see that our product is extremely active right out of the container. We've actually taken microscopes and looked at our biologicals and seeing how many are alive, how many are working, and actually see them go right after sludge as soon as we pour it into the reclaimed water. So there's no doubt about our product being a superior product. Our product does produce the enzymes, but it's being produced by the biologicals that live and breathe in the reclaim tanks, within all the plumbing, the high pressure tanks, every place where we use reclaim water. These biologicals will produce a colony, and then that water is treated continuously. You still have to naturally change out a few of the biologics. Things die. I mean, I don't want to face back that I'm 65. I think I'm still 22, but at some point in life, I'm going to have to be replaced. And hopefully they have a reclaim defender for me as well, that, they can fix me down the road. But so we go into a thing called sustainability, and that's how we just kind of keep the biologicals alive at that point. So.
All right. Well, thanks for explaining that a little bit further. Kipp, earlier in the conversation, you mentioned that at the ICA show, in addition to manning the booth and letting folks know more about Reclaim Defender and some of the other products that you have going on at the Arcadian Services booth, that you're also going to be presenting at the show as well, correct? So can you give us some more details about that presentation? What do attendees need to know to make sure that they don't miss that presentation?
Oh, absolutely. And again, we'll be hosting a pitch session in the Pitch Amphitheater Tuesday, May 14th at 1 p.m. Everybody's welcome to attend. It's also featured on the Car Wash Show and the Car Wash Show website in the education section. The name of the program is How to Better Manage Your Water Reclaim Systems, Resulting in Elimination of Odors, Reduction of Sludge, and Lower Operating Costs with Arcadian's Reclaim Defender. So again, look out for that. And this is just, we typically do a pitch each year on really the new innovations we've created. And we're trying to make positive changes to the industry. And a lot of it goes towards sustainability as well. Just think about how much less water has to be discharged to the environment with a program like this. So, there's just so many key benefits. And that's what we really, strive to be, is really the innovators.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's a good goal to strive for. Is outside of the Reclaim Defender, Kipp, and that presentation, anything else you want attendees to know about Arcadian Services while they visit the Car Wash Show next month?
Absolutely. Well, we've got a couple other products. We did feature in last year's pitch a product called C3, which is probably now, one of the leading, if not the leading, safe to use wall and equipment cleaners in the industry. We developed this technology a little over 3 years ago, and it's really taken over a lot of the industry. It's really gotten a lot of the danger out of really maintaining facilities. Again, people can come see it at our booth. We'll be demonstrating it at our booth as well to show how that works. We also are going to be featuring a product line called Inject-A-Scent. One of the things in the recent surveys that have been put out to the customer base in car washes, I believe the number was 39% of the respondents were looking for better fragrances in their car wash experience. Everybody's really looking for that customer experience. We probably have the widest line of fragrances that can be injected into the tunnels. And really at any point you'd like to inject them in. And we do seasonal fragrances for fall and for Christmas as well. So people can change them up. And people really like those. And again, based on these survey results, again, the car washes always want to differentiate themselves from the other wash down the street. And these things can really help. So, and then we do have another technology that we will not be releasing at the show, but just to kind of have a little teaser out there, we've developed what's called an alkaline product, which is a high pH product. Typically, they're very caustic, very dangerous to touch. Our product, you can actually stick your hands in. You're not going to get hurt. It's safe to get in your eyes as well. We're still, again, beta testing that. But the results look extremely positive, and this technology will be going into some metal safe cleaning products as well into our pre-soak line of products. And so it's really, again, these are game-changing technologies that we want to have a positive impact on the industry.
Sounds great. And people could certainly go to the website. That's arcadianservices.com, if I'm not mistaken. And they could learn more about the Reclaim Defender and some of the other products that your company is offering. Again, that booth number this year for Arcadian Services at the ICA show is 1243. And we'll make sure to let attendees know that in the post where they can find you guys. I appreciate you, Mike and Kipp, taking some time to discuss this topic with me here today.
Absolutely, Rich. I really appreciate it. And at our booth, you'll get to really meet the entire team from customer service. If people want to talk chemistry, we've got our head of technology there as well. So we really want to provide the best experience to the people attending as possible.
Sounds good. Thank you both. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Rich. Take care.